Okay, so picture this. You're sitting in an exam room, right? You're staring at a question and you know you studied it. Like you can literally picture the page in your textbook in your mind's eye. You can even see the neon yellow highlighter you used. But the actual words? Just blank. Complete mental record scratch? Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a look at some really fascinating concepts and breaking them down so you can actually use them. We're tackling what I like to call the ultimate memory paradox. Basically, why our brains are completely capable of instantly locking in some types of information while just aggressively rejecting the exact things we're actively trying to learn. Let's dive right into this whole universal frustration. Seriously, think about the sheer absurdity of this contrast. On one side, your brain effortlessly holds on to every single word of some insanely cheesy pop song you heard exactly once playing in the background at a coffee shop. And then, on the other side, we have the notes you just spent 3 agonizing hours staring at. You know the drill: a ticking clock, a sore back, endless yawning. On the surface, it makes absolutely zero sense, right? You put literally no conscious effort into that song, yet you can belt out the entire bridge perfectly in the shower. But you put maximum conscious effort into your study notes, staring at them until your eyes literally water, and you walk away with almost nothing. It feels so unfair. It honestly feels like your memory is just actively sabotaging you. But hey, before you get too frustrated, take a deep breath and just let yourself off the hook for a second. Your brain isn't actually bad at remembering. I promise you, your memory is not broken, you are absolutely not incapable of learning, and you don't have a defective mind. The truth here is actually much more empowering. Your brain is just incredibly picky about what it thinks is worth keeping. Think of it like an incredibly strict bouncer at the door of your long-term memory. It's constantly filtering this massive amount of information all day long, and it has a very specific set of criteria for what gets let in the door and what gets tossed out onto the street. Your study notes, well, they just didn't pass the vibe check. So that brings us to the core mystery we need to solve today. Why exactly does a catchy chorus stick instantly, while a totally simple paragraph of historical facts or scientific definitions needs, 5 agonizing rereads just to make a dent? Why does our mind seem to put up such a massive fight against standard textbook studying? Because look, we're putting in the hours, we are doing the work, but standard reading just seems to bounce right off. We really need to figure out what that song chorus has that the textbook paragraph is completely missing. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it actually maps out inside your head. When you listen to a song, the neural pathway lighting up is bright, it's active, it's like a massive fireworks display of engagement. Your brain instantly recognizes it as high-priority info. But when you process standard textbook text, man, that pathway is dim. It's totally inactive. It's practically asleep. The brain evaluates that plain text and basically says, yeah, nothing to see here. No need to waste energy storing this. So these inputs are being processed in 2 completely, fundamentally different ways by your brain's filtering system. Okay, let's dive into this and look at the secret code here. What actually makes that neural pathway light up so brightly? Well, it boils down to 3 specific elements that the human brain is naturally wired to lock onto incredibly fast. And those are rhythm, repetition, and emotion. If you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, it makes perfect sense. Long before written text was ever a thing, our ancestors had to pass down crucial survival information using oral traditions. They relied entirely on songs and chants. So when a song plays today, it taps right into that ancient wiring. It's got a beat that naturally organizes the info. It repeats the chorus so you get multiple exposures without even trying. And the music actually makes you feel something. These aren't just fun, artistic choices, folks. They are really powerful neurological triggers. We can really just call this powerful triad exactly what it is. It's memory glue. Rhythm, repetition, and emotion. When you combine them, information becomes overwhelmingly sticky. Now, just think about your average textbook or study guide. Do they have rhythm? Absolutely not. Do they use engaging repetition? Very rarely. Do they evoke emotion? I mean, usually the only emotion a textbook evokes is absolute pure boredom. Traditional textbooks usually have 0 memory glue, and that right there is exactly why that chorus sticks after one casual listen, but a dry paragraph needs to be hammered into your brain with 5 rereads. You're basically trying to stick things together, but you don't have any glue. So the absolutely crucial point to remember here is this. Your brain isn't broken. It's just following its own rules. It is a highly efficient machine, and it's operating on a very strict operating system. Once you understand that you aren't fighting a bad memory, but rather you're just kind of failing to follow the brain's inherent rules, everything shifts. It's a real game changer.
You don't need to try and force the brain to change how it works. You just need to change the format of what you're feeding it so that it aligns with those rules. You can literally use this picky system to your absolute advantage.
Let's move to and see how this builds into an actual strategy that you can use today. This is the payoff right here. Step 1, you take those key textbook facts, the ones that are totally dry, boring, and just completely refusing to stick. Step 2, you artificially inject that memory glue. You turn those facts into a rhythm or a rhyme. Look, there's a reason you still know the alphabet flawlessly. It was set to a melody. There's a reason you remember that, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. You can tap your pen on the desk to create a beat while you recite a definition. You can match historical dates to the melody of a pop song you already know. You are basically taking that dim, inactive information and manually forcing it into the active pathway by adding the exact elements your brain craves.
Now, when you're sitting there at your desk, tapping a beat and rhyming the periodic table of elements to yourself, yeah, it might feel a little ridiculous. If someone walks past your room, they might give you a pretty funny look. But you're not being silly at all. You are actually being highly scientific. You are finally speaking your brain's language. You're completely bypassing that strict bouncer at the door of your memory by dressing the information up in a VIP outfit. You're giving your brain exactly what it needs to instantly lock that information in. So here is the final provocative thought I want to leave you with today. Are you ready to actually remember what you learn, instead of just endlessly staring at highlighters and hoping for the best? Seriously, next time you have to study, ditch the endless rereading. Try finding the rhythm instead. See what happens. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want to keep optimizing how you learn, make sure to follow for more ways to hack your brain and actually retain what you study. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.